And then you're not, fucking internet, honestly.
Good morning. I think we're live now. I keep freezing, which is Sam is laughing as she is because I keep freezing and we're trying to fix it before we go live. Welcome everyone to Tuesday morning. And as you can tell, this is going to be a bit of a giggle because anytime we talk about fitness and working out and all those kind of things, it should absolutely be fun. So
Yes.
I have already been to my hot yoga class and we were doing some abdominal work, and what the instructor said I thought was really interesting. And I work with chakras and all of those kind of things in energy centers. And what she said to us as we did these sort of V sits, and then, you breathe and then you lower everything down just a little bit. And then you kind of come up, you're not moving lots, but it's intense in the core.
Yeah.
What she said was, this is your power center. Now, I know the sacral chakra, the sacral area, to be your power center, or your solar plexus to be your power center. But what she was talking about is waking up this area of your body just brings you right back into yourself.
Yeah.
Made me think of is everyone who is there on their mat, anyone who's out there going to the gym or moving their body or doing anything like that, this is our choice. You have to make the choice to exercise, and no one else can do it for you. You just have to do it. And while there were times when I was doing different poses and things like that and thinking, I'm really not enjoying myself. This is just, I could just lay down and just do a child's pose and hang out here. But no, I kept pushing myself because that's why I was there and I wanted to get the most out of it. So Sam, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and what you've done and what you focus on, because your focus is in this area, is in this abdominal area, but you're also such an expert in what you do and what you offer. And I really want my community of Sprout Right to understand more about that, please.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I'm sorry if I dropped a little F-bomb. I didn't realize we were live. Oh my goodness. Anyways, happy Tuesday morning. Gotta love technology. So, it's interesting what you said about your power center, because I agree, because they're talking more about the core, and my name on social media is known as Sam Core Trainer. I am the mom of two. I've got a 13, a 17-year-old. I've been a trainer for many, many years now. I almost feel a little bit archaic. It's going on 18 years, and focusing on helping moms feel good in their bodies during pregnancy. I mean, even before, but during pregnancy, after birth, and during the recovery, so they can kind of feel like they can take back control and they can feel confident in their bodies again. Because one thing which is really unfortunate in sort of the mum world, and I'm hoping that we're kind of getting out of that with a lot of body positivity, is that women often, or mothers in general, feel so, even though they've just done the most amazing thing, they've birthed, whether it was vaginal or cesarean, they feel so weak and vulnerable, and they feel like they need to prove something. And you're talking about how, the abdominal area is our power center. I talk about it as part of our core. It is so important because it is the center of us. And if that's not strong and functional, it really affects so many other things. But that is the thing that women, they don't understand, that that's their power center, and they almost look at it as like their worst part, right? So when a mom comes to me after she's given birth, she's like, I got to get rid of this. And I'm like, you just had a baby.
Yeah.
Like,
they're human and birthed this person into the world. I say that to my workshop attendees all the time. Please just let that sink in. Everything that your body has been through, you have created another human being. So let that land in that power center, that, oh my gosh, I've just done this. Yes, my body's different to what it was before. So what are the next steps moving forward? Obviously, I deal with the food side of that, but you specialize in this area of helping women, because things can go really, the diastases that you've helped me with over the years, that's huge for women, especially if they think, oh, I'm just going to go start running again, or I'm going to hit the gym again, or those kind of things. This is a really specific area that you have specialized in and have made such a huge difference in so many people's lives.
Yeah, so diastasis recti is a separation of the outermost abdominal muscles. So the rectus abdominis, that six pack that everybody wants, right? And let me just first say that a six pack is not a measure of fitness and strength, by the way. I'm just going to say that. Just got to throw that out there. So it's a separation of the abdominal wall. And, you know, I have seen a lot of, with the research, because diastasis is still very under-researched, with the research that is available, it has changed over the years and it has evolved that we have now come to realize and understand that diastasis is a very normal part of pregnancy, because your body has to adapt to the extra weight load, the growing uterus, all of this stuff. So of course your body is going to make compensations, going to adapt to create more space, especially if you're a little teeny person and I don't know, your husband's 10 feet tall, the baby's got to grow somewhere, right? But the thing is when women hear that, oh my God, my abdominals separated, and right away it's like, how fast can I get my abs back, and how can I, just like you said, letting it sink in for a second, that you just created a human that is breathing. It's alive. You have to keep it alive. Let's focus on that for a little bit. And here's the thing is, once you have a baby, you're always postpartum. Your body is never going to go back. You're never going to get your body back. Like all of that stuff really kind of frustrates me, because again, it labels women that we should look a certain way and attain a certain image, because we see all this stuff on social media. Social media makes me crazy for that particular reason. There's a lot of great things about social media, but in that, it's such a way to make women just feel, again, more inadequate and weaker and all this stuff, instead of empowering women that, you know, yes, diastasis is a thing, but it doesn't have to define you. It doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean that you're never going to be strong again. It doesn't mean any of these things. And diastasis is more than just having a belly. Diastasis can also cause associated back pain. Diastasis can also cause referral pelvic floor issues like incontinence, leaking, prolapse. There's all these things are intertwined because we're talking about the entire core. So people say diastasis is not just about your abs and your core. It's not just about your abs. It's all encompassing.
Could it affect also your knees and just your gait, like how you walk, your posture?
For sure.
Yeah. I have come across a lot of men who perhaps I'm dealing with weight loss. And there are men who also have diastasis. They haven't put a human in their belly or grown a human in their belly, but still that effect, or anyone who has been overweight at any time. So this is not just about pregnancy. You know, we're talking about new parents and things like that, but you also need to understand that this just happens. So once your abs, as far as I know from what Sam's telling me, once there's that separation there, then there are some really specific things to do and some specific things not to do.
So when you're dealing with I would say right after birth here, I'm just going to give you a quick analogy here. Do I have a ball here? I don't have a ball, but I have, oh yes, I do have a ball. Okay. So here is, just going to give you a quick visual of what diastasis is. Oh, I just cut my head off. Okay. So before pregnancy, your abdominals are together, and they're kept together by a connective tissue called the linea alba, which is a connective tissue that keeps the right and left side of the rectus abdominis together, so your six-pack muscles. And as your uterus grows, what happens is that connective tissue starts to stretch sideways, and the muscles separate to create space, right? When the baby comes out, though, the muscles don't go like this. Right. They tend to stay somewhat separated. So when you were talking earlier about how it can affect posture, sure, because if your area right here is very, very weak, now your back is going to hurt that much more. There's all kinds of things. But it started in pregnancy is when that uterus started to grow, your body starts to compensate for this load out front, right? So what happens is your belly pulls you forward, and what do? You clench your glutes and you lean back, and this becomes the pregnancy posture. So then after, when the baby comes out, the posture ends up like this. This is like the new mom posture, and we're holding the baby and we're bouncing. So absolutely. And then when you have an abdominal separation after birth, if your abdominals are separated here and you're standing like this, you're actually creating more pressure on the abdominals that have already separated. So diastasis is the most common cause is pregnancy because it's continuous forward forceful pressure on the abdominal wall. But like you said, men can get it. So doing abdominal exercises incorrectly, anytime there's too much intra-abdominal pressure on this area, what happens is eventually, and it doesn't happen to everybody, who's not pregnant, I mean, this connective tissue starts to stretch, it starts to weaken, and the muscles separate. So if you have an abdominal separation, what's happening now is this connective tissue is weak. It's been stretched. It's like a piece of saran wrap. So what we want to do after to help treat the diastasis is create tension across the abdominal wall. We've changed away from the let's get the abs muscles back together, because quite honestly, in all my years of doing this, I've been specializing in diastasis for a long time. I've never really seen anybody's abdominals come right back together. I haven't. But that doesn't mean, it can't happen, because the studies show that approximately a third of women with a diastasis will spontaneously heal themselves, but you're left with the majority, 2/3, who still need some. But when we say heal, though, it's not necessarily meaning the abdominals are going back. It's what exercises can they do now to create tension across the abdominal wall and have function. And when I mean tension, I mean instead of having, I'm going to stand up again, instead of having weakness where you're getting this protrusion, right? And that's what that belly is after.
Like cone type of thing.
Or coning, right? So if say you're doing a sit-up or a crunch, or like you said when you were doing your hot yoga, if you do a V-sit and you see any coning or doming, that tells me that you cannot create tension because there's too much pressure being put between the abdominal wall. But that doesn't mean you can never do a V-sit or a crunch again. Okay. Right? So I've always been anti-crunches. Don't do crunches, don't do crunches. But again, the research evolves, the information evolves, and a sit-up, not necessarily a crunch, a sit-up is a functional movement in that, if you're lying on your back, you have to get out of bed. Or if you're at home with a newborn and that baby is screaming, you're not going to think about rolling on your side and getting up. You're going to jackknife out of bed, right? So there is at some points where you do have to train and practice functional movements, but the rule of thumb is when you're dealing with a diastasis, if you do anything that sees any coning or doming along the front of the abdominal wall, then that's too much load. You have to scale back and find other movements where you're not getting that coning, because basically you're just exacerbating and you're causing more weakness in that connective tissue that's already been stretched. So that was a long answer.
I love the ball up your shirt and your zipper performed perfectly in showing exactly what happens. And really you think, well, like, why wouldn't this happen? But don't let it stop you from understanding that your body changed. And again, this is not only, after your first pregnancy, this can be after the second pregnancy. So sometimes, seeing someone like Sam or doing one of your programs, I think you have very specific programs for this. Is that right, Sam?
Yes, I have on my site on samcoretrainer.com. I have ab rehab, which is a very specialty designed program for diastasis, or even if you don't have diastasis, but you just really have a very weak core. It really helps to build that core from the inside out. Uh-oh. You've frozen on my end. You've frozen. I can't hear you. I'm going to drink some coffee. Lianne. Anybody there? God, I love technology. If anybody's listening to me, I promise I won't drop any.
I'm back. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have like 12-5 coming in at every angle, and I don't know why.
I
Anyway,
know.
I was typing in talk, Sam, talk.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, I can't hear you.
Not sure if you can see that. Hi, Dominica. She's been writing us some comments saying hello. Dominica from MumNet. It's lovely to have you here too. So so quickly, can you tell us if you have diastases or you're just trying to get back in touch with your core and what I experienced this morning after we, all flopped down from this is what the instructor was talking about. Is like just like hone in on this, feel the power, feel it being alive, feel that you are now more connected to yourself because you've awoken this area. And I think that's something that, because especially during pregnancy, there is so much going on in your abdomen. Your bladder becomes a pancake, your stomach is absolutely tiny. There's so much that that has gone on in there, and then birth and all of those kind of things, that I also think that us connecting back to this area in a mindful way also will help us to just really to be in your power so much more, which I think, more on the mindful side is really, really important. But while you're doing that, you need to do it safely. You can't be doing sit-ups and crunches and all of those kind of things, because as soon as, you've always told me this and taught me this, as soon as you see that dome thing, just ease off and go back. So is there like a really quick short list on don't do this? And you've always taught us to do side planks, for instance, is a better thing.
Yeah. So, but at some point though, like I just said, because, things have evolved, if you can do a front loaded plank, as long as you can maintain tension across the abdominal wall, because that is the end goal. I will start actually giving my clients crunches and sit-ups at some point, just so they can do, a practical and functional movement in case they need to, without them worrying about, oh my God, I've ruined my abdominals. Because there's been a lot of almost like pandemonium and scarcity around diastasis. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And I want to admit that I've been part of that, because that's all I knew, right? But I also I'm not afraid to admit that things change and you learn new things. So I'm going to evolve with the changes, right? But at the end of the day, if you want to be very aware of your core, I'm going to give you really quick the Cole's notes on what the core is. So you've got 4 parts to your core. You've got your diaphragm, which is your breathing muscle. You've got your deepest abdominal muscles, which are your transverse, or your TA, which people know about. You've got your deep spinal muscles, which are your multifidus, and then your pelvic floor. And the pelvic floor is the foundation of your core, quite honestly, right? So if you stand up, if your pelvic floor is not working, all your guts are going to fall out. So we want your pelvic floor to work optimally.
Yes, it is.
But here's the thing. If you want to properly engage your core, if the pelvic floor is the foundation, then you need to connect with your pelvic floor. And actually, when I even help treat people with the diastases, I have them connect with their pelvic floor first. It's not about going directly to the abs. It's not about belly button to spine. It's not about bracing. It's not about any of that. It's getting that core 4 working synergistically together for optimal core function. And over time, it's almost like, if you work with a good foundation, then everything else on top starts to connect. That's the way we treat a diastasis. Right. We don't work from the top down. It's from the bottom up, right? We need that strong foundation, and everything else will be aligned.
Okay, excellent. And because I'm mindful of your time, I know that you've got to dash off to one of your personal training clients. So tell everybody a little bit more about where this program is, or just any other fitness programs. Everybody has some online programs, and you have a tremendous community as well. Everybody needs to know about.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, so online you can see me find me at samcoretrainer.com, also on Instagram, Facebook, but I've got a great private Facebook group, SCT for ladies only, and in there I've got a ton of information. I'm on there all the time, every day, posting great content, and then also I do offer exclusive online coaching for women who are really ready to take back their health and take back their confidence. And that's a more private one-on-one program that I offer for new moms. So if you're interested in that, you can totally just reach out to me online and I'd be happy to chat more.
Yay. I'm just typing that out again. So check out samcoretrainer.com and ST Ladies.
Only on Facebook. Yeah.
Only on Facebook. Yes. For an incredible community. I'm a part of that community, and oh my goodness, what the ladies have done. And you did a challenge not too long ago. I think it was a couple.
And I'm doing another one. I haven't announced it yet, but you've heard it first here. I'm going to do another one in January for the new year. Yep, I'm going to do another free challenge. It'll be different, but it's always good. Yeah, the women on that challenge, I had about 32 people in that challenge, and the women were awesome. People were so vulnerable, and that's really when change happens. When you're vulnerable and you can connect with other women, that is when change happens.
Yes, it was tremendous to watch. I had my broken ribs at the time, so I wasn't able to.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I wasn't able to get into it, but it was beautiful to watch, and people, the support and the community and all of that was there was just tremendous. So please do check that out.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Lianne.
Thank you so much, Sam. I'm just going to hit finish off my note here on Facebook. Okay, because once we shut this down, that may not pop up. So if anybody has any more questions about anything that Sam does or anything to do with diet or of course, anything, just comment below. You can tag Sam there, or I'll make sure that she sees a comment or a question that you might have. And thank you so much, Sam, for sharing your amazing, ball in the belly and all in your and all that stuff, because it's a beautiful visual for everyone to see and really. Yeah. So thank you so much. Have a fabulous day.
Thank you. You too. Bye, everybody.
Bye.